Kevin Minnick of the Courier-Post. Good morning, Kevin.
Morning, Sully.
How's it going, man?
It's going okay. I can't complain.
We got to get your take on the on your dream Super Bowl halftime show. Who do you got?
My dream Super Bowl halftime show. Oh, boy.
What were we saying, Cole? He'd go with some sort of 90s grunge band?
No, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably go with U2 myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm not like McGarry. I mean, Springsteen's okay, but
we nailed McGarry right on the head. So.
Well, I would have went to Vegas on that one because he was only going to say one name. There was no option there. I knew that was coming.
We're still trying to figure out Tribble. We think he's going to go with some off the wall band like Bare Naked Ladies or something.
No. I think you ask him that question. I think you're going to get a relatively decent answer that you won't have to think too much about.
We'll see. We'll see in a couple of minutes here. So what's going on over your way?
What's going on over my way? Well, I'm looking outside.
Fill us in here. Fill us in.
The sun's shining. The winds have stopped, and we're going to have a big day of basketball today. What's on
your radar for high school hoops this weekend?
Well, today we kind of this kind of starts the weekend showcase, the big weekend showcase tournaments. We'll probably go. We'll go throughout the rest of the season, and we'll go up to RV today to the Jeff Coney Classic, and there's games all day starting at 11 o'clock in two different gyms. So I think all together there might be 12, 14 games, something like that today, and some decent matchups, some decent games. And it's an opportunity to check out a few other teams that we may not have seen during the season. So I'll probably spend most of the day up there checking out what's going on in those two gyms.
Who are some teams that are really catching your eye now? I mean, Cherokee with a nice win over Kingsway. They're off to a 12-4 start. Millville, we haven't talked too much about them. They're 12-3 right there in the Cape Atlantic League American Conference.
Yeah, you mentioned Cherokee. They've won, I believe it's now 8 straight, and they're playing some pretty good basketball. They're finding ways to win close games, and that Olympic American is really a very, very tough division. Everybody's just kind of really beating up on each other, so that'll come down to the end. And you mentioned Millville. Millville's got they got their 3 losses, but they lost to the Prep twice, and they lost to Atlantic City. So they're showing that they may not. They're probably not a team that's at the upper echelon of the Cal, but they're just a notch below. And when you kind of look at it, everybody else, we anticipated the Prep to be the team to beat, and AC obviously to be a team that will be right there as well. So for Millville to kind of be the next team in the conversation is pretty good for them.
What about a team like Glassboro? We haven't really talked about them. They have 10 wins now. They beat Shalleck 53-39 last night. What can we expect out of them here going the next couple of weeks?
A team like Glassboro is, you're right now, they're looking at, in all honesty, they're kind of a middle of the road team. They're going to win their games that they're supposed to. They might win a game that maybe you didn't think they would, but traditionally Glassboro has been pretty good basketball, and they'll be in their division in the Tri-County Diamond. They'll be in the conversation with into the mix there. And you had asked me earlier about another some teams that have kind of caught my eye, and I really want to throw out Paulsboro. Here's a team that's defending. Here's a team that's going to the state championship last year, and lost a decent amount of kids. And I saw them earlier in the year, and they didn't look good. They went up against Woodbury, and Woodbury kind of took it to them a little bit. But Coach Sean Collins, his whole philosophy at that point was wait till we get everybody back. And they've had some kids hurt. They had a kid that recently became eligible. So Paulsboro is a team right now. I believe they've won 6 or 7 in a row. And they've got a big test this afternoon. They'll take on Camden this afternoon up at RV. So, Paulsboro is a team right now, and especially, in Group 1 that, is coming on. They've been playing very, very well, and they're coming on strong, and they spread the ball around. They're always athletic. If you look at the scores, they're getting balanced scoring across the board. and no one real, kind of quote-unquote superstar. But, they're scoring points, and they're getting 4 or 5 guys in double figures each night. And, by this time, about a month from now, I think Paulsboro is going to be a very, very dangerous team, in Group 1.
Yeah, you mentioned Camden. They're coming off a 45-41 win over Paula Six last night. Where do they stand? They're traditionally one of those teams, even people down the shore keep their eye on it as one of those top teams in South Jersey.
Sully, Camden is always in the conversation. Absolutely always in the conversation. And Camden's not just a team that people know around here. Camden's known statewide and nationally. Here's a team that's won, I believe it's 11 state championships or 12 state championships. Camden's been to the state final 4 straight years in a row, and they've come up empty all 4 years. And last year was just probably the worst of the run because they were up, I believe it was 18 points, 18 points, something like that, and they lost in the final seconds. So, this Camden team, they're off to a very good start. They're, I believe, 11-2 now, 11-3, and they've got some athletes, and they've got some kids who are juniors and seniors who have been through all of this, and they're at times you look at them and you wonder who can beat them, and at other times, especially when they don't make foul shots, you wonder if that's going to kill them again, and from time to time it has. Usually, if you look at Camden's losses, it's because they've been dipped at the foul line, and they know it, and they try and try and try, and foul shots have killed them. They did pick up a win over Shawnee earlier in the week when a kid made a foul shot. So hopefully, the tides have turned a little bit for them. But when you talk South Jersey high school basketball, there are certain schools that you are always going to talk about, and Camden is obviously one of them. Oh,
definitely, yeah. They're one of those squads that if your team is up against them, you're in for kind of some high flying action. Sure, there's going to be some dunks involved. It's just an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, through the years, I think you have to go back a little while. I've been in the Camden gym for 30 years, and I've seen some of the Camden greats that have ever played there. And while I want to say their intensity and their aggression on the court is clearly not the way it used to be. It's just, I guess, it's just a sign of the times. But they will always be a team that you can never ever go into that gym feeling comfortable. That's a place to go where when people talk about home court advantage, Camden has a home court advantage, and it's usually good for at least 3 to 5 points a game just to start it.
Kevin, getting away from high school sports just for a quick minute here, what was your take on James Harden's 50-point triple-double?
I watched the second half of that game, and my son was at the game, and I texted him at halftime, because I wanted to know where his seats were at and stuff, and how the game was going, and he was like, Harden's really good. So Harden, the beard just throws up some shots that all he needs is like 6 inches. He needs just 6 inches of space, and he's draining shots left and right. So he's pretty good. I'd say he's pretty good. He could play in the Cal. I think McGarry probably make him first team all press.
I would think so. Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. Cole's got to grow out his beard a little bit more, get looking more like Harden.
Some of us can, some of us can't. I don't know.
I'm a redhead. I can't grow the beard. It turns into a mess.
I'm with you there.
Redheaded guys should not have beards. What about Super Bowl? Who do you like? Give us some professional journalistic breakdown of the Super Bowl.
In all honesty, you're asking the wrong person for a professional journalistic opinion of Super Bowl, because in all honesty, I know football is kind of like America's sport and this and that, but I'm not as consumed with football as most people are. So I just kind of look for an interesting game, and I guess I'd kind of like to see the Falcons win it. If I had to, you put me on the spot, I'd like to see, maybe somebody else get an opportunity for once to get a chance to hoist the trophy.
How about Rutgers putting 4 or 5 guys in the Super Bowl?
Rutgers, there's certain schools. I don't know what it is, but you find that from time to time, you don't even think about it. You're like, Rutgers, how's Rutgers doing it? They haven't had a great deal of overall team success, but yet they're being able to put players out, into the NFL. So obviously they're doing something right there. And you throw a plug in there for Logan Ryan from Eastern. I don't know. This has got to be probably at least his second Super Bowl, if not maybe his third. So, South Jersey will be in the Super Bowl once again this year as well.
Now, does he? I'm sure you covered him in high school, right?
Yeah, he was a kind of player just like Eli Apple, at Eastern as well. That when you went, you hear so much about these guys, and as a DB, and you go and watch them in high school, you're like, is he really that good? Because he was seldom made a tackle, or very rarely was he in a play. But there was so much respect that teams stayed away from their side of the field so often that they almost got lost. But Logan was a very good DB. He was a very good quarterback for them too. So he had he's another one. He's one of those kids that once he got into college and really solidified where he was going to play, that really had a very nice college career, and obviously it's translated to the NFL.
Now, we're talking with Kevin Minnick of the Courier-Post. Now, Kevin, when these guys make the pros, do they big league you when you try to localize a game like the Super Bowl, or do they still return your phone calls?
Well, sometimes it's kind of 50-50. It really is. Obviously, when you want to talk to a kid at the high school level, okay, you call the coach up, and 9 times out of 10, the coach will just give you the kid's number. You call them up, and you're done. But once these kids get to college and once get to the NFL, it becomes becomes a challenge somewhat sometimes to get a hold of some of these guys if you don't know them really, really well, and especially at the college level, because these kids, you have their cell numbers and stuff, and you can just call them up and talk to them, but they really don't want to do it that way because somebody finds out that you did not go through the sports information department. These kids get in trouble.
Right, yeah.
So the NFL is a whole different story. If you got a number on a guy, give him a call. But, sometimes these guys are busy with all the demands on their time, which a lot of people think, well, you can't have 5 minutes to talk to somebody. But sometimes, it becomes very difficult with all the things they have going on that it's hard to get a hold of guys. But other times, if you know them well enough, and some guys, you've known them for a long time, they'll get back to you pretty good. So, I have a pretty decent relationship with a guy like Andrew Bailey, who went to Paul VI, the baseball player, who's now with the Angels. I can call him up, and if he doesn't answer, he'll call me back. So, but then there's other guys, you give them a call and you kind of cross your fingers. So
yeah, it was kind of funny. I think last summer I was trying to get see if I get Mike Trout on the show during the baseball season. So I contacted the Angels, and they got back to me and said, yeah, he only talks to Sports Illustrated and ESPN during the season. So
you don't. He did not want to call back Sully.
No. I mean, it wasn't his choice, really. Like the their media department just wouldn't even process the request. So
yeah, Mike is kind of emerged into a little bit of a different creature at this point, given the overall status he has, not only in Major League Baseball, but I think in professional sports now. So
sure.
Next time you might want to tell him that you'll buy him a couple burgers at Jim's and do a little interview there down in Millville, and maybe he can give you a call there.
Maybe I could float a Glory Days shirt out there. Maybe that'll get him to call me back.
That might do it. That might do it.
I still got to hook up. I still got to hook up you and Tribble with some gear.
Yeah, we're waiting. We have our fingers crossed. We're waiting for that.
All right, I got a new shipment coming in this week, so we'll get you hooked up.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We're up against the break. Got to let you go, but thanks for taking a few minutes, Kevin. We're going to catch you at the Battle by the Bay.
Yeah, we might get down there. We'll have to check out to see what the schedule is for next week overall, but we might get down there and check out that AC St. Augustine game again.
Cool, man. I'll catch up with you soon, buddy. Thanks.
All right. Thanks again.
You got it. Kevin Minnick of the Courier-Post. Always enjoy speaking with him and getting his insight